I would like to welcome all the participants here who we have
Yeah.
admitted, and the other peoples are continue to join this meeting. So this call is about the cash flows, because we know that all the people we our businesses normally need cash to manage. So
Right.
and during these coming 6 months or so, we will be in a difficult situation where we may not have enough money, or we may have enough money to run our business. So we will be in a survival mode for a very long period of time. So this call or the conference is aimed towards helping the businesses, to help them to understand how they can manage their cash flows. Their supply chains will be disrupted. It will be a different scenario
Yeah.
ball game for the entire hotel hospitality industry. So we would like to learn from your experiences, since you are running your business for a very long period of time, and then Rizwan is
Uh,
also running business.
yeah. So I have been a newbie in the hospitality space.
Mhm.
My name is Bela Gupta, and I have been in the retail space for over 3 decades, and so really customer service. But food was always a passion. So the last 5 years have been in the food space, and I have a brand called Herbivo. It's a food delivery kitchen, and we have been doing well. We have a small cafe in Kamala too. So if you want to shoot the questions, please do if you're ready.
Yes. The first question that I would like to ask you is, in these
पाठवलंय तिला सगळे
different
डिटेल्स पण
difficult
मला
times
माहिती नाही शी इज
for
नॉट एबल टू ऍक्सेस आय थिंक लॉट ऑफ पीपल आर नॉट एबल टू ऍक्सेस
hello.
I think there's somebody whose microphone is not muted.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. A lady, I think she's on the phone. Yeah.
Yes, she's also on the phone.
The host
You,
can mute
you
everyone.
mute everyone. Yeah.
Whoever will be host, he can mute everyone.
So I have muted everyone now. So I will unmute only the panelists for the time being.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's great.
So shoot your question,
Yes, ma'am,
Mani.
first thing that I would like to ask you is that in these certain times when we are facing difficulty in while people are eating, not going to eat out a lot, what would be the alternative revenues you think you can suggest to the people who might be struggling from the less diners in the restaurants or in the hotels? Because mostly until the travel bans are lifted, the people won't be able to stay in the hotels. While the travel bans are lifted, probably they would be staying mostly in within restricted territory. So what other revenues the hotels and the restaurants can look for? So I would like both of you to ask the same question. So first, Bela ma'am, and then Rizwan.
So I will first talk about when we reopen, how we would be able to predict or sort of work out the revenues that we can look at. Yeah. So for me, I would go by a lot of research. So I would talk to the trade. I mean, I have a lot of trade friends. Find out what each one is doing. So a
Mhm.
lot of research with the trade. I would also talk to my customers because they kind of give you the best indication of what's happening. So it's time to sort of keep your ears and eyes open, your ears to the ground, and your eyes really closed uh, uh, with vision to talk to your customers and find out what really is the ability to kind of help them, serve them, And also, I would talk to my vendors. So vendors are supplying to so many other trade partners as to what each one is doing. So keeping in touch and communicating is the first thing that I do, so that I'm able to then plan my business model. So we are a delivery kitchen, and since we had a lot of our kitchen employees living far away, and public transport was closed, and they couldn't travel into. So we looked at innovating in terms of we wanted to look at herbivore recipes. So just to keep the buzz about the brand going, we looked at creating the recipes at home, anything that you can rustle into your refrigerator and sort of present to the customers, because they're all at home, they all want to eat good food. So we looked at herbivore life. We're also looking at I've heard from trade, a lot of restaurants Preetham is a very good friend, Gurbakshi Singh Kohli. They've started delivery kitchen. So a lot of restaurants have started their delivery kitchen model. So that is another good option, whether you would like to do pre-orders or you would like to do on-demand gratification. I think one can always and easily do that. So it's very important to communicate and look at what works best for you, to sort of look at, so people may think revenues are only in the form of monies, but even if you get marketing visibility, that's monies that you got. So it's very important to keep that going. I would be very, very conservative. In terms of in terms of my spends, so I'm going to be very, very what do you call it? Like a cockroach, I would say. So I would really scavenge and save. I have to survive. So I have to look at all the outflows. You as a CFO of a company, you know exactly what I mean. So you have to become, look at all your fixed costs versus variable costs. So how can you, survive looking at, a balance of variable and fixed costs. So in terms of, I would be really looking at innovation, be ready for change. So the world has changed, so it's not going to be the same again. So how does one really innovate? And I was just talking to Rizwan, so Rizwan will be able to sort of tell more about himself. So I would look at how do I keep my costs, fixed costs at a minimal, and also talk to my partners, whether it's my landlord, whether it's the rents, whether it's and keep communicating to my customers at this point of time. That's my option. So really, that is what I have for you on the table, Manish.
Thank you, ma'am. Rizwan, can we have your opinion on what the additional revenue streams we can look for? The cost, we will come to it in a bit again one more time, but let's talk about the revenue and alternative opportunities.
I think Dharmesh has also joined us. I just saw Dharmesh as well. I don't know if you knew, but I kind of just saw him right now, but his call Siddharth, just saying, because I didn't hear his name earlier. Okay, so I'm going to talk about today. So first of all, I'm Rizwan, and I am a part of two companies essentially. My main company, which I'm a CEO and co-founder of, is a company called Dope Coffee Roasters, which the parent company is called Roasted Today. And otherwise, I do food innovation and brand experience at Impresario, which does restaurants like Social, Smokehouse Delhi, Saltwater Cafe, so on and so forth. But today, I think there are a lot of accomplished restaurateurs on this. I'm going to take the other side, which is the coffee roasting side of things, and the coffee roasting part, because here we are an integral part of restaurants in general, right? We are not only suppliers to restaurants as a B2B model, but we are also kind of partners with their training programs, training the baristas into getting stuff done, pairing their food, so on and so forth. As Dope Coffee Roasters, of course, we were a bit lucky to be on the B2C side of things as well, where we were able to kind of launch a website in time and start talking to people on that kind of that front. However, in the sales mix of things, we were a B2B first company. Because the kind of model that we are trying to create was a B2B company which funnels a B2C business. And I think that is a great model from my experience, at least. However, right now, B2B has come to a complete halt, right? Or at least, it is down to about 10%. There are some cafes which are running, but hey, how much of hot beverage can you kind of really call on a delivery model, right? The upside of thing and the positive side of things is that the B2C has kind of come into surface. We've seen a major surge on people kind of logging into the website and not just trying to buy coffee, but also trying to see how they can brew coffee at home. We've had equipment which has been lying with us. Obviously, we are also selling equipment on the website, and people have literally taken to like buying their own French presses or asking questions, or if they do not want to commit to a particular brewing method, then they ask us, hey, can I make this like I make my chai? And we are almost about to release a video on how you can kind of make coffee with a chutney and paneer chhanne ka kapda, So as basic as that. So innovation will have to be at the crux of all of this. I think we are going to go back into a very hyper local, primitive kind of businesses. We are running a campaign. We just started. This is something that my dad would have done. Bella actually made a note of my dad, and it reminded me. My dad would do something like this. We've just gone ahead and tied up with in Bombay. So we went and tied up with this Kushu Bagh, which is like a Parsi colony, and and getting stuff delivered to their doorstep. Pretty much, and it's all WhatsApp based, and there are older people in there who do not like technology very much. They want that person to call and be like, "Mere ko ye chahiye, aur aap la ke de sakte ho kya?" And I think that is something that as a millennial, which is new to me, because I usually don't like to talk to the person on the other side. I like to be behind an app and make my order happen. So I think going back into customer facing businesses in terms of going hyper local and reaching out to the audience on the grassroots level. At the end of the day, as a coffee vendor, I have to realize that I am somebody who needs to go to your doorstep. So yes, there is a major surge on the internet, and we have to this is going to be the new norm. Being able to do home deliveries of any sort is going to be the new norm with contactless dining, with hygiene standards up there. When it comes to spends, I really think that at this stage we need to start looking at. Yes, of course, we want to use aggregators, and we want to use people like Zomato and Swiggy and Scootzy and all of the others which are out there, and they are going to be a very, very big part of the integration. But something that I really am not for is deep discounting. And although things are not that great, I just do not want to kind of put myself in a place where, hey, because I am here and the competition is high, I'm not getting any income in, I'm going to kind of slash my rates on a discount. If I had to slash my rates, then I might as well keep that as my menu price, right? Why would I have a menu price at 100 rupees and then say it's 20 rupees now? It just doesn't make sense. I don't think the customer is that foolish either. I think it's good if you want somebody to try out a particular, if you want a first timer, if you're a first timer to the product and it's a one-time discount, of course you want people to try it out and want to engage with you. But if the client or the guest is going to love your product, they are going to come back no matter what, right? And the quality of the product speaks miles. So I would say that we are also looking at kind of for the coffee division, we are thinking very hard. I think my co-founder is here, Mr. Nitu Bahumal, and we were discussing, what will it take to kind of get a a Piaggio, those three tired vehicles of our own to kind of go and make deliveries happen, and we have to be ready. And what if we could actually, there are a lot of unemployment that may happen in the delivery division as well from other aspects. What if we could absorb some of the delivery riders from anywhere else and kind of start making our own fleet happen? This kind of maximizes your profits, and at the same time, you're creating job opportunities. So there are some of the things that we are trying to do, and obviously we are affected as well because we are part of restaurants in a big manner. So we do want kind of restaurants to come back and start selling our coffee and partner with them. But at this stage, I think the maximum effort that we will put in will be to our B2C business, primarily through Swiggy, Scootzy, our own website, dopecoffee.in, and Amazon, so on and so forth.
Okay, that's great points. I think, as you have rightly said, people have to go towards innovation, thinking, additional revenue streams. Like, for example, Ms. Bella is saying about recipes to keep the brand alive, and also to look for the other alternative revenue streams which were not feasible earlier. So I think Mr. Dharmesh is also here. Mr. Dharmesh, can you unmute yourself?
Yeah, I just unmuted.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi.
Welcome to this webinar. We can have your introduction, just a brief one.
Yeah, hi. Yeah, Rizwan, I'm having dope coffee, by the way. And I love your coffee, I must say that. So quickly, well, I've been in this industry for more than 25 years. Did my hotel management from Catering College, passed out in 92, worked in many companies, including Rizwan's brothers, Riaz's, and have been now currently, I have my own restaurant. And brand I'm talking about is Thangabali and Lighthouse Cafe, which is in Worli. So yeah, very interesting points by a lot of people. I personally think that everybody will have to focus on their individual strength of what the brand is all about. Obviously, we'll have to cut our costs, we'll have to try and do a lot of things. But what's interesting is that consumers, it's all about getting into the consumer's mind is what I feel. The consumer is changing, okay? And with this whole virus happening, people are going to obviously look very, very carefully at the hygiene aspect. That goes without saying. And our industry was all about hygiene. I mean, it's food, right? It's just that we've not been very strict about it. I would say that if you can stick your neck out, get a webcam, put it in your kitchen, on an aerial view, and let people access it, then you show your confidence and listen, I am good. I follow practices. I mean, my staff is actually cleaning the dusters, sanitizing the table. After every time you clean up, the hygiene in the kitchen, okay, is so important now that it's even more important. Yes. So stick your neck out, put a camera in your kitchen and give that access to people. So if I'm a consumer, for example, in home cooking, okay, like Herbivore is a great brand. I've turned vegan quite some time back and I love all the recipes that she has, Bella has. My point is that if she puts up a camera, for example, and I can tell my friends, listen, order from her, why? Because she has a camera. Because see, the doubt goes away. At the end of the day, I can give how many ever jargons, I can give how many ever articles, but if I stick my neck out and say, this is my IP address, check my kitchen hygiene, okay, I think you're home. Another thing is that this is again my personal view, home chefs will get more home delivery orders. I'll tell you why. Your selling point should be, I'm a mother and I cook with my daughter or my son, and we don't leave our home. Because employees, if in a commercial establishment, you'll have employees coming in and out. Okay, they take the train, they take the bus, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Don't do that. Say proudly, my mother and my daughter or my son, whoever cooks, and we don't leave our home. We go only once a week. So my confidence, if I'm a bachelor or if I'm a from the dink category,
Mm-hmm.
I will say straight away, listen, I better order from somebody like who's living in her house. She does not leave her home. Her son also does not leave their home. Put up a camera and she's a home chef. Can you imagine the psychology of the consumer? You've got into his mind. You have won his trust. I think everybody has so many doubts. I don't want to get into the negative aspect that, look at our hawkers. They're so untidy. Our kitchen in 5 stars are very, very bad. I've seen many articles. Forget all of that. That's in the past. Things are going to change. Do these things. Tell people, if you can, as a restaurant body, say clearly, I have 6 employees who come once a week. They don't leave our premises. When they leave the premises, another set comes in and they have a bath and stuff like that, because this virus is bloody dangerous. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we'll have to have our seating separate. We'll have to have sanitizer bottles and blah, blah, blah. But people are going to be skeptical. Okay.
But
Another
you don't
thing.
have to be only honest. You have to be seen to be an honest also. You have to,
You have to
show as you're honest.
See, Manish, yeah, Bela.
Dharmesh, and
Yeah.
in fact, about when I started my kitchen 3 years ago, I was contemplating putting that camera that you were talking of, because, but I had mixed reactions. So I'm kind of smiling right now, because once again you touched on my idea. So thank you. I mean, I've got a thumbs
for it.
up, and I will be going for it.
I'm telling you, go for it. People will start loving your brand. Anyways, see, the best part about you, Bela, is you are selling health. I mean, everybody wants to build their immunity. Everybody's staying away from fried food and unhealthy food. Of course, we all binge. I'll not deny it. When I'm watching something on Netflix, I'm eating chips. I love my deep fried food and all of that. But you're selling health.
Even
so that
me.
helps. Yeah.
So means the health-based food will be more in popular. So you think the restaurants and the hotels would be going towards the health-based programs, or the food, or which boost the immunity? Will that be something people
Yeah, Manish, I'll
consumers
tell
be
you what.
interested?
I did a quick research with 5 millennials,
Okay.
and I asked them this question.
Mm-hmm.
So will you stop going out to eat? How will you choose? I mean, will you now stop eating non-vegetarian? Will you?
Yeah.
Say no. We'll be more choosy. We'll
Mm-hmm.
look at more healthier brands and options.
Mm-hmm.
We will want to know how the food is getting prepared. They want to know the ins and outs of things. So one will have to be able to do that. Sorry to interject. Dharmesh, continue.
Yeah, Dharmesh. Dharmesh?
Can't
Yeah,
hear you,
okay.
Dharmesh.
Yeah.
Unmuted, yeah. So Manish, I also wanted to add to all this discussion is that besides these things, I think what's also important is, again, getting into the consumer's mind is important. What is your brand about is important. So if you're a food brand, for example, okay, just get your truck ready. I'm telling you, we have to get our trucks ready and take our food to that place. Like Rizwan is already doing that. He's a smart cookie. He's so smart that he's actually gone into Khushru Bagh and he's doing the right thing. So that's amazing, which is going to really, really help him to increase his footprints. So having said that, we need, those who guys are into food, okay, they need to get their trucks in place and take the truck, because I'll tell you what, the other problem is going to be rentals, okay. I personally feel a lot of restaurants are going to shut down. Let's be honest. Which brands which are not really, really powerful brands, they will die out. I feel it will be as high as 30-40%. So demand falling down, rentals will be, all the landlords are going to do cha-cha, choo-choo. I don't know what all is happening, but get your truck. Your truck has zero rental. Okay. If your truck has zero rental, you're going to reach to that place. See, besides that, we've been doing we can get sponsorship from all these brands. We can do events to get things going. We can do food festivals. I remember I should give out Mocha as a shoot destination for a lot of these filmy people. So you get revenue from that also. You need to start building brands. So you need to get your celebrity tables. Like for example, some celebrity is eating in your restaurant. You put that up and say, listen, because my hygiene is blah, 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 I have Amitabh Bachchan eating in my restaurant, just as an example.
Yeah.
So
What's important is also training your employees about all those things up. And very important, get your pricing up. Don't hesitate. Increase. I would say all restaurateurs get your pricing up by 20 to 30% because we need it now. Those days are over where we used to fight among ourselves and sell a beer at 100 rupees and 99 rupees and 95 rupees and MRP. Those days are over. And if you think you're a discounting brand, हाथ जोड़ता हूं, बंद करो तुम्हारा धंधा. Stop giving this discounting. It is over because you cannot give hygiene and quality and train your staff at the current pricing we are doing. We all know we are all cutting corners. We make our chefs wear a chef coat twice, meaning 2 days. It does not go for wash every day. And let me, if a restaurateur says, nahi, 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 I think he's lying. We all know that, okay? We have been cutting corners because there was a pressure. There were so many restaurants.
Operating margins were not that very high. So I think now with the hygiene, the operating margins will be even more higher. So
your pricing has to go up. See, there was a time in Bombay about in the 90s when everybody came to Bombay to become a movie star. Now, last 5 years, everybody wanted to be a restaurateur. Okay, so we've had so many restaurants in Bombay that it's weird. You know, people don't know how to make a simple bechamel. They don't. I mean, there is a term called pink sauce. It's so weird. Anyways, let's not get into that. We need to increase our pricings, okay, because our costs are going to go up. Our sales are going to drop. So let's accept it. And because our sales are also going to drop, there's going to be a hit. We will have to cut our corners and get more highly skilled staff because you're living in Bombay, in a city where there are, I mean, I think 80% of our employees live in slums. And in the slum, there's no proper bathing facility. There's no proper any facility. And we expect them to take the train and the bus and smell good. Oh, nahi hone wala hai. Okay, let's accept these realities. Okay, and take steps. For that, we'll have to increase our prices. We will probably have to give these guys a hygiene kit or something like that. See, it is all about winning the consumers and getting into his mind and making sure that he's convinced that he can come back to the restaurant. So any restaurateur doing that, if Bela does it, for example, and puts up a camera, she will do a favor to the restaurant industry. You know why? Because she'll be the first. I don't think anybody is doing it. Everybody will want to follow her because they'll say, "Wah, yaar, ye sahi hai." Because of which we restaurateurs will have to spend money, time, effort in the kitchen, which will make it even more interesting. And you know, brands like, for example, which is all make it at home, you know, make those kits, like Dopoli, for example. There is no aspect of getting any virus. Just buy the lovely coffee, heat the water and eat it at home. And you know, make all these things at home. They are going to be the ones which are going to be very interesting. See, because in business, it is all about making money at the end of the day. We all have to make money.
Okay, Dharmesh, I think we have our next panelist also online already, Miss Aditi Kamath. Hello, Aditi.
Hi.
Hi.
Yes, I'm finally with you guys.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. Finally, you are in. So my next question actually would be on to you now. Since we have been discussing that there will be less revenue, the business is going to be cut. People may not be coming to the restaurants, and if we believe the home chefs will be more popular. So how would you manage the labor cost? Because we know that we have fixed labor cost in our restaurants, in our hotels, where we have fixed number of chefs, fixed number of service people. So with these low volumes, how we will manage the cost? How we will manage the labor cost?
Okay, firstly, hi everyone. Dharmesh, I just wanted to put a little point on what you said. You know, having celebrities in the restaurant. I remember reading at a Udupi years ago that says the owner also eats here. And I think having a board that says the owner eats here makes the customer feel so nice and homely, saying, you know, मैं उधर खाना खाऊंगा क्योंकि उधर का सेठ भी उधर ही खाना खाता है. And I think, you know, stuff like that really makes the consumer, I mean, who are our customers, feel homely. And I think that's something that all of us should put a stress on. your point, I think right now manpower is going to be very easily available because, as Dharmesh said, so many restaurants are going to close.
Yeah.
Reasons for closure are going to be many. It's going to be from rentals to, I mean, I run a bar and a restaurant and a cafe.
Yes.
So with the current scenario, I think the excise fee is also creating a big problem, and that's something that the industry has to deal with. So because of that, I don't really see too many bars opening up also post this lockdown. For me personally, I run restaurants in an area called Dadar Shivaji Park Prabhadevi. I'd say like we're probably the F&B pioneers of the area. And for me right now with my staff, it is not about reduction of staff. I want to know how many people I can actually retain.
Mm.
Why this is important is because I think we have about 140 to 150 staff amongst our outlets. Most of them are from category 3 and 4. As Dharmesh said, they travel by train, they stay in outskirts of Mumbai and come back. Many of them who are staying in our staff room right now, even as we are comfortable in our homes. I personally feel post this lockdown, this staff is going to run away to the village because scenes in their house is also so bad right now, is that they are wanting to meet their family. The only reason right now they are with us is because we are providing them 3 good meals a day. So to look after manpower right now, I think we have to have minimalistic labor. We have to be very choosy about whom we keep and retain. Here it is not about whom I like and whom I dislike, but it is about getting optimistic and maximum output from somebody whom we are hiring. So, if we say ki I want to cut costs and hire a demi or a DCDP instead of a CDP, I think that mindset will have to change now. And I rather have a CDP who can be on the range and cook food than having, our moriwalas being trained eventually to cutting and chopping and making sauces. So I think a little bit of, you pay somebody 2 rupees extra, but make sure that instead of 15 people, have 11 intelligent people in your outlet is what I think I'm going to do.
So more smarter peoples, but even with the higher salary, but less number of peoples, but more on the quality and the efficiency.
Totally, but I also think right now we all have to all evaluate our business, and I think I'm not sure how many outlets I can open back also in this scenario, considering the rents and the salaries that are already pending last couple of months. So I think overall we have to just step back and reevaluate about our entire business and decide what we want from this business. Is it really worth the risk?
Well, one point to all the panelists that I would like to ask your inputs. What I think is now, since we are 3 to 4 months still away from even a mild recovery, people will not be traveling for at least next 2-3 months. After that, they may be traveling, but doing the planning, cash management or business planning is all about future. And as we are all seeing that hospitality is going towards technological shift, maybe contactless orders, smarter kitchens. In the
I don't
hotels,
believe.
you don't believe that?
How can you have a contactless delivery and how can you have a contactless dine-in? I really don't fall in the category to believe this. I think it's impossible to have contactless dining. I don't know,
But
Dharmesh, give
how
me your
about
views on
the
this.
technological changes for production, like in the restaurants, using the better or innovative equipments to reduce the time for the chef or to improve the quantity of the production so that we can work with minimum staff or automations?
I personally feel what we should do is reevaluate our individual menus. I come from a kitchen background myself and I do up my restaurant menus myself. So I think, when we actually open, I need to check I need to check and see how I can reduce the items on the menu. Number one, because I don't want to keep high-end items. I want to make sure that the stuff that's in the kitchen is going to be readily available in the market because we don't know where we land, come June, July. So I don't know if I'm going to get a particular, imported sauce that I was getting 6 months ago. And if I need to keep those items on the menu, I need to make sure that, I change the menu in a way where everything is readily available.
How about you, Dharmesh? What are your inputs?
I agree with Aditi. There is nothing like contactless because
Mhm.
this is all a hands-on thing.
Yeah.
That is the reason we need to quarantine, and that was the reason I said that a home chef, like a mother and a daughter and a son or whatever,
Mhm.
who advertise that, listen, we are at home, we don't go out anywhere, so you can order from us and we are free of the virus. Because in any commercial or semi-commercial establishment, you are going to have staff who are going to come through some public transport or even walk on the road for that matter.
Mhm.
There is a possibility that he might not have the symptoms himself, but he's a carrier, and he'll very unknowingly spread the whole thing. So to convince a restaurateur, okay, is going to be very people. I mean, I'll give a small example. Okay, I have 3 children. I'm not inviting anybody home. I'm not inviting my relatives. Okay, forget. I'm not inviting my friends. If you're not going to invite anybody in our own home, how are we expecting people to? There will be people, but amongst the affluent and the educated lot, I doubt it's happening. Your chai wala will do well, your vada pav wala will still sell. Trust me, because I've seen in some places, like there is a chowki below my complex. Over there, the police are going to the chai wala and all are very happily standing over there, congregating and having chai. Similarly, there'll be people who will go to a restaurant also, and bars, I'm a little worried. But I don't know if they go great. But what's really
Dharmesh, what I was actually going to say is that forget about the restaurants opening. I personally feel that a restaurant that is an old school, say for example, a Copper Chimney, a Great Punjab, a Gypsy Chinese, people might want to go back to restaurants like this because they have a family structure running the restaurant. There's some kind of a favorable, they feel connected to these places. I think for restaurants like ours, be it Thangabali, be it Open House, Sizzle House for that matter as well, it's going to take us a while to have customers actually come into our restaurants in big numbers to eventually come and enjoy their evenings. Also, with the new norms that the government will come to, is to have 2 foot and 3 feet distance between tables. Now tell me, number one, real estate in Mumbai is crazy, right? We pay crazy rents for restaurants. The first thing we tell our architect is, boss, मेरे को इतना cover बिठा के ही दो restaurant में. Why do we do that? Because we want, at the end of the day, we want to make our numbers meet. Now, if we can't make our numbers meet, and if I'm told to put a 2 foot and a 2.5, 3, 4 feet distance between tables at the bar and the restaurant, how do we make our numbers meet? Considering all this, it's going to be really difficult for us to... Tell me, Bela.
So I come from the retail background. So I've worked with Shoppers Stop and Tesco. So I've been to a lot of seminars currently because each one is sort of contemplating how are they going to kind of open stores in malls and so far and so forth. A lot of malls. So I know of a lot of developments where, each one is thinking of a disinfectant kind of area, like a tunnel where people walk through and, so your staff can get disinfected. And so there are a lot of innovations that are coming about in terms of to be able to tackle those kind of issues that you and Dharmesh were talking about. In terms of, yes, restaurants will have to be selective. So I liked what Dharmesh said, that you need to increase your pricing. You need to be very exclusive. You need to be innovative. See what is your USP, what does your brand state, and then accordingly take a stance. So strategy, it won't be one size fits all. It has got to be each one doing things differently. So that is what I would like to interject.
I would like to just complete what I was saying. This is again my take. My take is that as high as 70% of restaurants will shut down. This is my personal take. Okay.
I quite agree.
70, not 70. 70 will shut down. I don't think there's going to be two extremes. Like, do I visit? Do I not visit? Restaurateurs will get people. Okay. Restaurateurs will get people to visit their restaurants, depending on how powerful your brand is. But your sales will be less than half. Okay. So you'll have people coming in who probably So your sale will be less than half. This is a question mark. Again, I'm speculating. Okay. But I know restaurants will shut. My speculation is on the sale figure. And the most important, your rents will crash. Rents will crash to an extent that we all are going to see reality. Let us all agree there are so many restaurateurs and people who are interested in this industry. We've been paying rents like idiots. Okay, all of us, including me. So Aditi is smiling. See her smile over there. So I am taking the liberty of calling us restaurateurs idiots. Only Bela is the smart one. She has a kitchen where she delivers. So she's not an idiot till now. But people like her will now open restaurants.
No, I have even know.
Okay, what is important is, so these three things are happening for sure. Whether you like it, whether Aditi likes it, whether Manish likes it, whether Bela likes it, your restaurants are going to shut. I am saying as high as 70% because of the fact that there is nothing like contactless. That's a reality.
Totally.
So, but Dharmesh, when you are saying that the rentals will crash, I mean, the restaurants will be able to negotiate with the owners, maybe a moratorium, maybe a cut in the rates. So, do you still think that the restaurants will be closing down because the most cost in the restaurants usually is the rental plus the labor?
Yeah, but
the rent will only help us survive a bit.
But the important part is, Aditi, the sales are going to drop. I'm saying rent
sales are going to drop.
That's what I said. The rent.
Who pays?
I think
reducing the rent. Sorry, reducing the rent will not increase our profits.
Yes.
Reducing the rent will only help us survive for some time.
A couple of months.
Eventually, many restaurants will realize कि नहीं हो रहा है.
So your restaurants are going to shut.
Yes.
Okay. Answering your question, Manish, restaurants are going to shut in spite of the rentals coming down, but overall real estate is going to come down. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. Your pricing has to increase by 20 to 30%, and it will happen. Okay, so we're going to basically go back to the 80s, literally, where people who own their own property will survive for sure. Those who are on rentals will not enter this business at all for a long time. When I say long time, I mean as high as 2-3 years, maybe even longer. So everybody knows what the graph is going to be. Have you ever thought about the entertainment industry? Your DJs, your bars, your band, these guys are all going to be jobless. I'm telling you, 100% of DJs are jobless. 100%. Which is like you killed the whole industry. There'll be no music concerts. There'll be no bar nights. There will be no, I mean, you know what I'm trying to say.
No happy hours.
No happy hours.
Yeah. And people are very happy consuming the alcohol in their homes. Well, last I heard that everybody is wiping out their single malts now because everybody finished the cheap brand. And now
I personally feel that everyone is going to go back to an Old Monk and a Blender Sprite. There's no money to drink anything more now.
Let the wine shops open, Aditi. I don't know what's going to happen. There'll be longer queues over there. Forget quarantine.
In a nutshell, what we can say that all the restaurant maybe should evaluate their break-even point, reconsider their menus subject to the supply chain that they are able to get. I mean, what they are able to get in terms of their menus, redo the menus to see what are the possibilities in terms of the talent that they have, the supply chain abilities that they have, estimate the business levels maybe by, let's say, 30 to 40% of what they used to do probably. And then they rethink again what menus are still sustainable, what kind of supply chains we need, and then reevaluate, are they will they be able to survive or not, keeping in mind the rentals, keeping in mind the labor costs, keeping in mind the low businesses.
I think
sorry, I got disconnected. Back, sorry. I got disconnected. So sorry, let me know when you want me to come in again. Thanks.
Yeah. Yes, Aditi.
So what you're saying, Manish, is right. What you're summing up makes a lot of sense. So we all will have to redesign, re-engineer, reinvent, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And by God's grace, if next week or by a month's time we get a vaccine, then this discussion, please cancel it as null and void.
Absolutely.
So that's what we all hope for, but
because I'm cross.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, but that vaccine is so goddamn important.
I personally, Manish.
Yes.
Manish, I think that, as we're discussing shutting the restaurants, I think people who are going to reopen their restaurants is also going to be like opening a new restaurant with a maximum deficit.
Yes,
So
yes.
one has to be ready with that also. So if
Yeah.
you're not in the capacity to fill in your deficit, I think everyone has to play it very smart and shut shop. I think that makes more sense. I mean, today I'm even speaking about myself. Like, I don't think any restaurateur pays vendors in every week or 15 days. All of us have a payment pending balance of 30, 35, 45 days. And I think almost since March, the business has been negligible. Post 15th March, it's been even worse. So I think all of us, have this whole thing of January, February anyway spending, and cut to, paying rents from March, April, and the salaries that we give. We really need to think about our deficits as well. It's not only about what to do on 15th of June. It's about what to do from February to June, and then June ke aage kya karenge.
Yes. I think because
So if I may
that's why
come in,
sorry, yes. So,
sorry, I missed this conversation, and I just want to kind of highlight this, a little bit, that we are looking at a very grim future. Of course, there's it's evident, very evident, and but one thing is for sure, that as owners of businesses relating to the food industry, I think we have to kind of step up. There are FSSAI norms and there are HACCP norms.
yes.
And in India, there is just been this thing about, okay, right now we're booming as an industry, and if you look at abroad, I worked as a chef in New York City for about 7 years, and we had something called a food handler's license, right? We had that. It was a mandate. Like, there were tests, so you could not get employed, or the restaurateurs make a kind of a blacklisted chart if you've not passed your HACCP exams. My increments, my appraisals, all of that kind of depended whether I passed the HACCP test or if I passed the food handler's license test. Really, so I think even before the government kind of comes on and comes in on this hard, I think collectively as the industry, we need to come together. We need to take those books. We need to touch those HACCP books which are lying in that corner somewhere, and dust them off and start reading. And if you read a HACCP or a FSSAI book to the T, right, you would know that there's everything in there. There's everything pretty much in there. Of course, this virus is a bit unique. We do not understand it, but there's everything in there which will help us educate our employees to be able to do that. And it cannot be just like you have to do this for a week or two. There has to be serious implications, not only for them, but also for us as people in the food industry, on no protocol being followed. So whether, even if you're going to be working, people spoke about, maybe there'll be a commie or a sous chef kind of doubling up to be a saucier or a garde manger or whatever. That is going to happen. This is going to be inevitable. This is going to be inevitable. There are going to be people. It is just going to be like the West, where people will double up to do multiple things. A bar back will be having to make a drink, and a junior sous chef will have to kind of get his hands dirty during prep. And there's no two ways about it. But I think if we just start prepping and kind of showcasing that there are going to be implications of not following HACCP protocol, I think that will go a long way as well. And the customer will be able to see it as well. Like, if you see a New York City or anywhere in the United States, you have a A or a B or a C outside of a restaurant. And that is got to do directly. Like, if you go to Chinatown in New York, you will not find any restaurant which has a A. That's for sure, right? It just doesn't happen. But if you do enter other restaurants, there will be an A. And people need to know that these things are kind of been validated. So obviously, it has to be a collective effort. And this is all I kind of wanted to say, is that we'll have to come down hard as well on these kind of rules and regulations and self-imposed rules and regulations.
Do you think the government
I completely endorse Rizwan's discussion point, because we've been flouting a lot of rules here and there. Multi-skilling is going to be important, but we got to go back to the basics. We got to innovate, and we really need to. I know there have been really tough times. My dad used to talk. He was a refugee from when there was a partition of India. And for them, he was a big businessman there, and he came back with being a refugee, having nothing in his hand. So each one will have to look at, what would be the right things. And I think all the points that were made by Dharmesh, Aditi, and uh, Rizwan are absolutely spot on. And one needs to get back, like I said in the beginning, we need to be able to scavenge, we need to survive. So I know my dad's favorite quote was खुद को कर बुलंद इतना कि खुदा बंदे से पूछे बता तेरी रजा क्या है. So I really think that in terms of one really needs to put all these learnings that has been so well brought about and look at taking it forward. My other thing is there's a lot of opportunities right now to wipe the slate clean and hide away all the things that you did wrong and look at innovating and bringing about a new self. So with that, I think I have said what I need to say.
I think we can look at back to the West, going back to the West, how they run mom and pop cafes. I think we also have to spend maximum time in our own properties and not leave it on our managers and make sure that things are looked after in a much better way.
Yes, I agree.
Absolutely.
Yes. That's right. So I would actually also ask you guys one more thing is that now we are sticking out in the supply chain problem, in the talent management problem. We do the multitasking, we control the rents. So how long, because we have to see that we are running toward until the June and then beyond June. So what should be the strategies beyond June then? Until the June, okay, we can say that we have to be in a survival mode. So what are the supply chain? We may have to renegotiate the credit terms with our suppliers. We may have to do the other things. So what are the other things that you suggest to manage the cash if we run in the deficit?
I think suppliers definitely. I think there's one supplier who's supplying to 50-60 restaurants. But I think on our own, what we can also do is simple things like the AMCs that we pay yearly.
Yes.
Try and renegotiate that.
Yeah.
It's been we have nothing is happening last 3 months. So even money saved is money earned for us right now.
Yes.
So try and talk to them. Tell them to increase their tenure. I think more than suppliers, all this also is very important. I think all the suppliers are also going to renegotiate and reevaluate their own rates.
Yes.
So, I think that also is going to help us eventually.
So, because the raw material cost, those costs would probably also increase, because if let's say the restaurants are going to increase the prices, the food suppliers may also think the same, because they also have to follow the same hygiene things.
What will happen is suppliers will also be wiped out. You know how many suppliers will not get paid? You have any idea the amount of money? I mean, they are going to, they will not get paid. Let's be realistic over here. If a restaurant is cutting down, he does not say, "Bhai log aa jao, main sabko paisa deta hu." He starts responding. Okay?
Absolutely.
Your suppliers are going to go away. So I personally think that what we really need to do is, as I'm saying about reinventing, we'll have to make it very clear that boss, prices are going up. Standards have to go up. Get your asset book and start following it. Your prices have to start going up. Restaurants will anyways start shutting down. And we'll have to tell everybody mentally that, listen, your days of Swiggy pay, Ek pay, Ek free, and Zomato pay, I don't know, whatever. Okay, that is all gone. Okay, because you will not survive. You will just not survive without it. Your sales are going to drop. Please accept it. And the best thing that has happened in the midst of this virus is that everybody has now become a chef at home. So everybody is saying, चलो ना मैं ही घर पे खाना बनाता हूँ, मैं ही खा लेता हूँ. Why should I order from Swiggy or Zomato? Because we've realized that the cost of food is really negligible.
But in that case,
I also feel, Manoj, sorry, I'm just going to say one thing, that gone are the days where, I wanted to open a restaurant because I knew कि 25-30% margin था. Last couple of years, as everyone spoke before, we've been cutting corners absolutely every year. Last season was one of the worst seasons that we saw, amongst my restaurants. We had the worst Diwali, the worst December. So जब भी हम लोग को कभी 5%, 8% मिल रहा है, कभी कुछ नहीं मिल रहा है. So we have to even evaluate ki, is it worth the risk for this 5%, 8%, and sometimes nothing to even try and run this restaurant again.
Well, I think only the daredevils will continue to run the businesses after this COVID-19, because all the things are going to change, starting from your customer prices to the supply chain to the cost to the menus. Everything has to be reinvented. But
it's
my
also
question
a good time for consolidation.
Yes, that actually pose certain opportunities as well for big brands like yourself, if you want to expand
I'm
or
not a big brand.
take off the
Lope is not a
you
big
want to
brand.
take on the smaller, the one that is going to close. So do you think that there will be some consolidation in the market?
I think the consolidation would be a very unique one.
Hmm.
It's going to be a one where there could be a promoter first consolidation, which we've not kind of seen before. Sorry. Can you?
Yeah.
I had a bit of glitch. Sorry. So, where there would be a promoter first, because even for such a massive consolidation to happen, you can't just do it overnight. And there will be restaurateurs, whoever does intend to consolidate, will have to kind of figure out, keep the promoters into the business for a very, very, very long time. So I'm a perpetual optimist, just the way I am. And I believe that there is always a life cycle of consolidation, and then coming and going apart and then back into consolidation, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, that's just how I've seen business in a way. So I think, yes, there will be a lot of consolidation. I don't think, we have to understand, at least this is my perspective. It could be different for everybody else. But yes, we are going through an issue. Yes, we are going through a crisis. But the restaurant industry is forever. And I don't think, I don't want to kind of forget that at any point, that this business is forever. And yes, we are going to go through some time. And like, everyone is saying that, is it even worth the risk? Is it even, of course, you must ask these questions, and it is very, very important. But, we are social beings. When we do come out of this, and we do come out of it kind of stronger than ever before, we will, at some point, maybe 2 years, maybe 3 years, maybe 4 years down the line, we will go back to being social beings. Hopefully there's a vaccine out and all of that. So, yes, this is exactly my perception. And coming to, I think your question, sorry, I missed that question again.
Which one?
Manish?
My question.
You had asked a question where,
I mean, again, on the consolidation. So anyway, I just would like to get one more thing to understand. Now the aggregators are taking quite a bit of commission from the freestanding restaurants or for other sale, even the home chef or the home delivery. You think there will be some correction in reduce the commission, or it's going to be increased? Because the less delivery means less orders, means less cost, less margin for them as well, right? So,
Dharmesh, you want to take this question first? Okay, I think, of course, see, everybody looks for an excuse to spike up rates, right? And I think, like Dharmesh rightfully said, that we are not making any excuse to spike up a rate or like, the other panelists on this conversation said that out of like increasing our margins. This is a matter of survival. Right. And I think I opened this conversation with this remark, is that I think it's time that we start looking at our own delivery fleet. We are going to go back into bhai mujhe yahan se khana mangana hai. I am going to call the restaurant and be like, can you deliver? You're 15 minutes away from me. We are going, especially in a city like Bombay, it's going to be like, who's in my vicinity? Can my Shiv Sagar me my pav bhaji that I want? And I grew up in a Bombay, which is that Bombay, and I'm going to continue to do so. I am going to call my Sarvodaya, and I'm going to get my idli from him in the morning. That's for sure. And we have to get ready for this. Sorry, it's not as of that. Today I want to just put the Dope Coffee Roasters cap on, but instinct of just responding to this is quite high. So I'm doing it. We are going to go into a hyper local economy, and we have to be ready for it. It's you get your cycle wala, put a dabba behind him, put it hygienically. You know, you employ those people back under your wing, and I think it is going to happen, and we should be ready for it.
Yeah, if that happens, that will be a major shake in the industry actually.
Sure, and it also kind of you know, it's Mother Nature's way. I'm going to take it like this.
Aditi, you were saying something.
Science from above.
Yeah, I mean, I was saying, you know, it's we who've created a Zomato. We've created the Swiggy. What were they without us?
Yes, that's
So
right.
if we can unite and if we can say, no, I cannot afford to give you the 25%. I also feel in the last 6 months, we actually tried to work out a little thing with my restaurants where we really cut deliveries with Swiggy and Zomato. And I decided to reprint menus and distribute it old school. You know, so before we used to put it in a newspaper. We used to have a boy standing with leaflets outside schools and colleges. We have the big Shivaji Park, you know, where my restaurants are. So we try to distribute leaflets with discount coupons and offers. And I think instead of me reducing my rates because customer nahi aa rahe, or by me giving Zomato a 20% commission and then giving a 15% discount, what we did was we offered a discount to the customer.
Directly.
And I think it did help us. So I think going back a little old school is going to help all of us, you know, take up that delivery option.
Also, with kind of doing your own delivery, you have one neck to catch, right? You want to catch one neck. If something goes wrong with my order, or if I am infected, if the restaurant itself is taking responsibility on delivering my food from you know, from farm to fork, for example, you know, you are the one who is responsible. I think people want to catch one person's neck. You know, in this whole thing about aggregator, okay, was my delivery guy infected? Was my kitchen staff you know, kind of infected? Was my server infected? I don't think that's what the customer is going to want. The customer will want one neck to catch. If in case something goes wrong, you know, God forbid, if something has to go wrong, there's one person to catch, and nobody's going to get caught in a kind of circle like this. Sorry, just want to say that.
Yes. Well, I think you're right. Both of you are right. When we are in the survival mode, our operating costs are going to increase. Then paying a very high commission to the aggregators just for business and also then absorbing the discount may not be survivable for a lot of restaurants, those who are going to be working. Yeah. So just to quickly ask you one more thing, Rizwan. You said that in US usually you have a lot of ratings. Do you think the same thing will go in India as well, where the government is going to say, okay, rate this restaurant as ABC?
I would be surprised if the government did not, but I think even before the government does it, we should do it. I think it's high time that we kind of, you know, pull our socks together and we actually know our cost. You know, हमको धंधा करने के लिए हमारा cost ये है और उसमें hygiene ये है. We have to stitch it into our businesses. We have to stitch it into our DNAs. And like Dharmesh said correctly, we'll have to go up and increase rates across the board. See, today I'm talking as a coffee vendor, right, who's also supplying to restaurants, right? I am doing specialty coffee. I am going to charge top dollar for that coffee, right? I think we just started a connection with Lighthouse Cafe as well before this thing, and you know, there was no conversation. I don't think the restaurateur or Dharmesh or anybody asked me, hey, why are you charging me 900 rupees a kilo when Lavazza is giving me for 600? No, I don't think that is the question at all. He said, hey, what can you do to make my coffee better, to make my coffee program better? And that is the kind of psyche you need for the kind of, I feel that the industry needs to prepare further, and hygiene will have to be stitched in the same manner. Whether the government does it or not, we need to get into HACCP rating number 1. And I think it has to be self-imposed, and it's all in the hands of the owner, right? It's all in the hands. How many times have we been in a position where there is a government norm which is there, but we know that the government norm is not really up there, right? It is easy to circumvent it, but I don't think that is the conversation here. The conversation is, how far do you want? You see your business forever, and if you see your business forever, like my kids will have it and my grandkids will have it. If you look at a business like this, then you will do everything in your right to protect that business, and I think this is one of them.
Yeah, I think as owners, we have to be confident about ourselves and our product.
So now, my last.
I want to add something here.
Yes.
I just want to quickly add something here is that related to the Zomato and the Swiggy guys, you can't fight them. They're really, really big. But I have an advice to all us restaurateurs is the biggest problem that we do, okay, let's say I'm selling a certain dish in my restaurant for 500 rupees. We sell it on 50% discount or whatever discount on a Swiggy or a Zomato. We don't realize that we're actually killing our brand equity. I am saying you want to sell on Swiggy, Zomato, no, at half the price, sell it, but don't sell it under your brand name. For example, if my brand name is Thangabali, I will make another brand and call it Bahubali, and I'll sell it at even 100 rupees. It doesn't matter because I'm not killing my brand equity. What we restaurateurs are doing, say even for example with Aditi, if she says my super fantastic sandwiches are at 500 rupees if you come to open house, but if you eat at home it is 200 rupees, the consumer fees what the hell? So she should say, okay, take it at 100 rupees, call it, I don't know, close house, I don't know, I mean think of something. But we need to change that because we're eroding our brand equity. So you create a cheaper brand. That and the other part is about market dynamics. I would love to have hygiene in my restaurant. Trust me, believe me. But the market dynamics at times does not allow me to do that. And what I mean to say by that is, in spite of this coronavirus, you will see the minute we get out, everybody will start spitting on the roads. Okay. I mean, that can spread things like this. Unless we all are really willing to change and there is a demand for it. See, remember, any hygiene step you take is going to cost you 1%, 2%, 3%.
Yes.
And that the business only has to pay. The consumer has to be ready to pay. Now, there will be a fancy restaurant which charges that amount. But what are you going to do about the guy who's still having vada pav and pani puri and those other things? And they do sell. So, yes, there are again pani puri walas who really take a lot of hygiene. They wear gloves. They have stainless steel ka matka. They use Bisleri ka pani, which is all great. And he does pay a premium. But we consume, but we all of us have to start realizing that, listen, India is no longer a third world country. We're getting rich here, damn it. Last 10 years, our salaries has gone like at least 20 times in so many people. Start paying that kind of money. People will be willing to pay, give you that little bit of that extra 15%, 20%. And us current restaurateurs, we must increase our prices. All sudden, we have to increase it. We have to stop being like cats and dogs. And the consumer will, trust me, will also start paying. Because the faltu restaurants already wiped out.
Totally.
In terms of post-COVID, it's not going to be the same. There is going to be a massive change. And we don't even know what would that, we can only kind of estimate and guesstimate. But what will be that change? And it is going to influence the customer in a very, very significant way. So I don't know about the spitting and the peeing and all of that, but I know there's going to be a lot of change and we need to be observant to be able to look at paving that change and kind of thriving our business through that change, transporting our business through that change, whether it's service by drone. I mean, I think why shouldn't there be a service by drone? Why delivery service via drone should be held back when that is a invention and it's a possibility. So
there's no infrastructure in our city, ma'am.
No, it is more to do with regulation, the air regulations and things like that. Is
right
what
now,
I understand.
I need to transport alcohol to my neighbor in the next building, so he's very happy with that. But
Swiggy
delivering
Genie.
food, have a big question mark.
Use the Swiggy Genie.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, if we are moving ahead in life, why not embrace everything the technology has to offer? And we should.
Correct.
Yeah, like we'll have service boys on roller skates.
Yes, why not?
Yeah.
Drones and robots delivering. Yeah, we'll see that also happen.
Now, thank you very much for your inputs. I think we have gathered quite a lot of good things here. I would ask audience or the other participants if they have any questions. Then they can post their questions in the chat. So that we can ask the panelists. So you can do that. In the meanwhile, while we are getting the questions from the chat from the other participants, I would ask your when you said you are going to run your businesses in deficit for let's say a year, where are you getting the money from? Where you are using your savings, or you're gonna get the bank loan, or you're gonna ask the government to support you, or what would be the different ways that you will raise the money?
I think right
Government
now,
will not support you. Let me tell you that much. Government is not going to support you. Okay, let me break everybody's bubble. Anybody is thinking that okay, हाँ, government पैसा देगा, नहीं होने वाला है. You have to fend for your own self. We are
Correct.
from a developing country. There are many more bigger issues. Government is not giving you even a rupee. I don't think even we'll get, even if we get our refunds back on time, no, I'll be happy. So
absolutely.
let's avoid going to the government. I am not willing to put my money from my savings. This is my personal view, because this is a business. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm willing to take a loan at a subsidized interest rate of say 6%, 7%, and I think even others will agree. You give me a loan at a decent interest rate, so that I can survive, but I will not endlessly keep on taking.
Yes,
I will
yes.
first
The
have to
interest burden will
negotiate.
kill you.
Yeah, I will have to initially first make sure that I reduce my rentals. I accept that my sales are going to drop, so I have to work according to that, work backwards, and then only I will take a loan. I'll not take a loan because if this is a bottomless pit, if the vaccine does not come out for the next whole year, I don't know what's going to happen. And anyways, we all have gone through whether the vaccine comes out next month or in a year's time. There are going to be a lot of changes. I think everybody is very scared of what we have gone through. This whole month has opened everybody's eyes. So we all are going to be a little more hygiene demanding, which is great. People will obviously have the sanitizers in everybody's bottle. The best business right now is to
Make sanitizers.
sanitizers. I know.
Masks and
Really,
sanitizer.
somebody should a bartender should find out a way how to use the alcohol and make sanitizers. I think he'll make more money like that right
I
now. The
think
way
I think we'll be able to liquidate our stocks also that way.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think there are not any questions yet, as I see in the.
I mean, coming to where people are going to come with the money from, I think just to answer for any startups which are out there and, or thinking or in the process of a funding coming in, or were planning to kind of get a funding in. I think it's very important to know that if you've not started that funding process, it is probably not the best time to raise that capital. You do not want your valuations to be any less than what you really think it should be. If you're in the middle of that particular tranche of money coming in, go through with it. I mean, that's because you've obviously filter, kind of got it into your cash flow system. You've already expected the money to come in. You've done your hiring accordingly. That's for sure. You need to go through with it. But if you have the runway, essentially, just figure out what your runway is, and how much can you kind of go through with this time. Do you have 4 or 5 months? Do you have 6 months? If you can prolong that kind of funding a little bit, I think it'd be a great option. And I said this, I'm a perpetual optimist. This is not forever. It is time bound. It is going to take a matter of some time, but it is our businesses of the F&B industry is probably the oldest trade known to mankind. It is not going to go away. It is not going to go away. And maybe we have to kind of think about how restaurants can make not ready to eat, but ready to cook stuff. Maybe run subscription services of ready to eat stuff. So if I can get something from Lighthouse Cafe, which I can keep it in my fridge and rustle up with my family, and there's a joy in cooking together as a family or with your friends and family. Maybe we have to be innovative. Maybe we have to think of different ways of getting our product across to people. I had somebody who just sent me some DIY waffles. Although you do get the premix batter, but this tasted so much more better, right? I'm just saying, is there a 2 days sandwich kit that I can kind of get at home I think if you can get around to innovative ways of doing things, I'm sure that this time will pass. This too shall pass. As hospitality professionals, I have so many seniors here, but I think we've been through so much in the past, and we've had our back against the walls so many times. Dharmesh, you've been through some of it with me and my family, others out there, and we've come out of it, right? And this is one thing that we do not understand. Maybe we do not understand this virus as much. But as restaurateurs, Bella ma'am said that we are cockroaches, and we will remain to be cockroaches forever. Restaurateurs will be optimist
We will
cockroaches.
survive with a nuclear blast.
We will survive for nuclear blast.
There is a question from one of the participant, Neha. She is asking that do you think there will be or there can be a platform to list the distress restaurants, like we are saying 30 to 40% or 70% of the restaurants would be closed, or would it be something that we should be probably have a platform where we list all the distressed restaurants who need help, and then as an industry brothers and sisters we help each other, or there is another way to help them out or for consolidation purposes?
Neha is looking at buying a distressed restaurant, then let me know. I can put her on the.
It's ladies first, yeah. Ladies first, please.
There is no platform, common platform where you can put up something. But yeah, that's a good idea. I think Neha can probably start that on Facebook or something, that distress sale of restaurants due to COVID-19.
So let's start making money on distress sale of restaurants. Is that what Neha would do?
Okay, there's another question.
I feel I would like to answer that
Yes.
question in a different way. I mean, we just had this innovation. Somebody from I think Karnataka did something called a Cup of Joy, and I want to kind of highlight this for whoever's listening here. It's on InstaMojo, and what they've done is they've done a pre-ordering thing for cafes and restaurants. So what you can do is I would love to share my link on here or something somewhere. Where you could actually log on to, if a restaurant or a cafe kind of links themselves to that, they can either buy a meal for somebody else in another city or keep that cash credit happening. I think Dope Coffee Roaster has accumulated around 7,000-8,000 rupees just doing that in the past 15 days. I know it's not, but right now anything is good, right? And I think initiatives like this and initiatives like this, like Cup of Joy, or crowd-funded restaurants are not far away. And I think I'm not the best person to initiate something like this, but yes, we have breweries like BrewDog, for example, or crowd-funded breweries. Why should there not be crowd-funded restaurants? It's a good question, and I think it's one that somebody will have to answer at some point.
Yeah. There is another question from Daksh Asija that they were asking what will be the impact on the suppliers of Horeca market. I think you have already touched upon a bit on the suppliers in Horeca market, that they will also be facing the challenge in the cash flow. Probably they also
very big.
I mean, it's a supply chain. So restaurants get affected. So vendors of the restaurants and so on and so forth. Employers, the labor, everybody gets affected. So I definitely think now how much and how little is a good question, and
I think it will be a matter of
whether
time.
it's 50%, 50% or 70% is a question. So keeping my fingers crossed that there would be vaccines, but one has to look at innovative means to be able to survive. So I heard wonderful ideas that Dharmesh, Rizwan and Aditi have kind of looked at. And we're also having a couple of good ideas, and I'm sure the people out there with restaurants, and each one is going to think of innovative ideas, whether it is the one that Khushru Bagh, one that is Rizwan related, or whether it is take a truck and go out and sell your product. I think it would make a big difference. So yeah.
There is a
So I'd
suggestion
just like to
from,
take that
yes.
question also. What about vendors? Here is the opportunity for me to wear two caps because I am a supplier to
Yeah.
in Bombay alone, at least 45% of restaurants that buy dope coffee, and we have money which is stuck out there, and here is opportunity, really an opportunity for me to see myself from both these angles as a restaurateur and as somebody in the industry. It is going to be tough. You're obviously not. We've kept it in mind that it is going to be a while till the time restaurants will make their money. There are a few things that we've kind of opted moving forward for restaurant. Restaurateurs will have to remember that cash and carry is going to be a thing, and that may get into prominence until you kind of clear your old dues.
Mhm.
For vendors, this is a great time, especially your of a MSME or your SME. It's very, very important that you go to your bank and explore the option of bill discounting. Again, it's one of the oldest ways of
Yeah.
of kind of trade in mankind's life.
Mhm.
And I think bill discounting is the cheapest way to kind of find money and for vendors, right?
Yeah.
Restaurateurs, unfortunately, bicharas don't have. If there's
Bill
customer,
discounting.
then there is this. But at
Yeah.
least for a vendor, you have this bill that you can go to a restaurateur, take that bill, give them a credit note, take another bill back, whatever you want to do. Go to the bank and finance your thing and support restaurants at this time, which is what Dope Coffee is kind of doing at this
Yeah.
stage. And I would like to kind of say that in that way.
There is a suggestion from Mr. Dayal Advani that there are companies that do the sanitization that last for 30 days. There are some solutions to that. We won't talk about it. Then there is a question like there are services like 7-Eleven or other things in Europe where you have pre-packaged food and then you just pick up the food and go home, reheat and then eat it. Do you think that trend will be coming to India as well?
Absolutely. I just
So
said
the restaurants will have
just
some extra chances or extra opportunities to make those kind of
the
things
whole.
and put supply into the by mom and pop shops.
Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
you just take Andheri, Aram Nagar as a case study point in this thing where people are here from so many places. They don't have a decent a stove in the house. They're probably working on induction or it's full of it. And a ready to cook category is inevitable, and we'll have to do it. I think so. I don't know about what the rest think, but on my end, for sure.
In terms of we had the do-it-yourself kits planned a year later. We are preponing that, so we would have ingredients and we would have the recipes along with that and delivered to your doorstep. Yes, we are.
Yeah.
So
That's a great way.
Yeah.
Great way to move forward.
Absolutely.
Do you think online cooking classes will be more popular now from the busy restaurants or the famous restaurants? Like if you have a signature dish that may help the home cookers to do those things?
Let's understand one thing, that we go to that restaurant for the experience.
Yeah.
Not
right.
not only to eat the food. You go out on a Friday night for the entire experience, not only to go and eat a pasta. Yes, I want to eat that pasta from a smokehouse or an Olive or wherever, but firstly, that pasta is not going to taste same when I make it at home. So I think let's not get mixed up between the two here.
What about sorry, can I ask a question to Aditi? What do you think about experiential home delivery? Like, what if something that I call from a restaurant actually came in like for a date night maybe, and I could just get like
we do that.
Yeah, you think
we actually do that.
Could be the future? Oh yeah, you do?
Yeah, we
Awesome.
actually do that. So we actually send breakfast baskets and dinner for 2 and dinner for 4 at home. So it's packed in a really nice basket, and the way we deliver it is some items are totally cooked and some are we send ingredients and we send like a serving suggestion sheet. So the entire package goes to you with a menu and a serving suggestion sheet that has how to cook the prawn, how to reheat the chicken, and it's worked wonders with us.
Well, that's good.
Netflix and chill basket.
Like a mini ODC. It's like a mini catering that you send to your customer.
Perfect. I think that is beautiful. I don't know why I never thought of that earlier.
I really like that name, Netflix Kill Basket.
Netflix Kill Basket. Okay,
What
there
else
is
do you
another
expect from
question.
millennials?
There is another question from Sagar Deshpande. He is in Sangli, and then he is asking that he lives in a small city and people are already price conscious. I mean, there will be other restaurants also in the small cities where people are very price conscious, for, especially for small restaurants which does not have a brand name or which does not have very specialized food. Will they be able to increase the prices? I don't. Probably they may not be feasible for them.
See, price is a demand supply situation.
Mhm.
Higher the demand, higher the price. Higher the supply, lower the price. So, in a city, let's take whichever city he's in, Sagar is in, he has to make sure that once he sees that so many restaurants are even shutting down, okay, in his vicinity, the demand will still stay constant after some time. Of course, we were all going to go through the initial phase where we all are going to feel the jitters for whatever 3 months or maybe even more. But in the long run, what will happen is prices will go up because demand will again rise up, but the supply will reduce drastically. This is going to cut off a lot of people, including the vendors who are there for the Horeca segment. I know a lot of people who became overnight Horeca suppliers. Even they will have to shut shop. If they can get all the vasuli, excellent, nothing like it. Because see, when the ship is sinking, it will take everybody down along with it. So there is going to be a lot of casualty. I want to be as optimistic as Rizwan is, but I see this corona changing a lot of dynamics. I mean, everybody was stunned when we realized that oil is actually gone negative. In the history of mankind, it has never happened. Okay. Then we saw that Templeton Fund, 30,000 crores going away. You know, people are now going to jump into investing in where? Real estate is over.
Yeah.
I mean, gold, I don't know. There's a big question mark. People are saying that. So there's a lot of changes happening.
Yes.
I mean, forget the changes in the business environment. Look at our environment. Yeah, it's become so sexy. You want to go out and smell the air and feel that whole thing. Maybe it's a big opportunity for us humans to take something in a different way and take it in a positive way and say, listen, let's keep our rivers and seas and everything cleaner. Let's redefine what development is, and let's really make our experiences even more exciting. Like what Aditi said, I would love to have a basket at home where, you know, there is a small little candle also, and, you know, I'm romancing with my wife. It's such a wonderful thought. Yeah. I mean, I would love to do that, or maybe pretend to cook something and, you know, say, here it is, I have made it for you. If I'm a young guy, you know, wanting to impress a girl. These things are so exciting.
Things are going to be in.
It will be redefined.
Manish, I think we've overshot time. I have another webinar that I'm attending.
We are finishing it up.
It's 1.5 hours. So can you wrap it up, please?
Yes. Just to wrap it up. So what we have discussed, I think, is we have to reinvent the wheel altogether, starting from customer experience to menu engineering to hygiene to operation, and also do the supply chain to effectively manage our restaurants. So we just, at the moment, is very early to say what impact and how much impact it will bring. I think the time will tell only, maybe end of May or end of June. So we will have to revisit at that time. Just keep your eyes and ear open and see what the environment is bringing to us. So with that, we bring the webinar to an end. I would like to thank Ms. Bela, Dharmesh, Aditi, and Rizwan for such wonderful insights. Also, Mr. Sanjay Anand from Hammer Publishers Private Limited, Spectrum Food Solutions, Kadush Media, who are our media partners, Koala Hospitalist, and Hotel Management School, that is my school. We are providing online courses. And we thank you very much. Tomorrow, we will have another session where we will be talking only about the operations and marketing. What would be the marketing be like, and the customer experiences, and how we may manage the supply chain and operations. So thank you very much, all of you for taking a part today. I hope some of you will join tomorrow as well. Same time.
Thank you everybody.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Thank you. Cheers. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.